Continuing in our discussion on web design, today we're going to talk about the elements of readability. Those elements are font size, case, weight and style, line height, line length, and alignment. So as I was considering this unit, I thought, okay, why do I read some of the things that I read? What makes the websites that I look at readable? I want to just review a couple. First, from the Deseret News, again using the font finder, found that the Deseret News uses Georgia, and their main articles are 18 points. They have a line height of 23, basically 24. And the next one, Forbes magazine. Font height of 18 pixels, or font size, line height of 24 pixels. They also use Georgia. The one difference here is they have selected the black color with 000, where with the Deseret News, they grayed out just a little bit. Then we go to LDS.org. Different color here from the other two, but lighter, easier on the eyes. Again, using from the Georgia font family, which includes New Roman or Times New Roman, and a little smaller font size, 16 on the scripture section of LDS.org. Then finally went to a website that I look at quite a bit. I work for Walgreens, and this is from their financial page. And I looked at that and I thought, my, what a disaster. I realize this is just an article that they posted so that they could announce sales. I did notice a few things that isn't necessarily into today's discussion, but that this, even though it's a larger type, they used a red type to draw attention to the fact that front-end sales increased 1.6% versus the decrease overall in the entire store of 2.3, meaning that the pharmacies was having a little trouble during January. So let's look at that just a little bit closer. Again, off gray color or off black. Chose a sans serif font of Arial and 12 pixels. The whole thing kind of hard to read. So I decided to take a little bit of this article, this news from Walgreens.com, and I put it into a box, and we're going to take a look at it and see what we can do to fix it to make it better. For starters, we have a line size up here of 28 pixels. The second line that was in there was 18, and then the text itself was 12. Really seems really small, even though it's a sans serif font. It just isn't really working really well. So we can take this and let's just see the difference of font size. Let's take this font up to a 14, and it becomes a little bit easier to read. If we increase it even a little bit more to, say, the 18 that the other people were using, it makes it so that the counters open up just a little bit more, and it's a little bit easier to read. We're going to talk a little bit more about line spacing and line height as we go on in the discussion. Now, in case the uppercase was used in the appropriate places when they list the NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange symbols, the location. It's possible that this title could be changed to an all cap. Let's see here. And that has to do somewhat with preference. The rest of it should obviously not be in upper case. It's kind of has that tendency to, as people say when you're blogging, that if you type, or in emails, if you type in all caps, that it's like yelling at someone. And the same thing applies here on the web. So let's bring that back. Now we want to take a little look at weight. Of course, again, the title would be the thing that you'd most likely change from a regular type to maybe a bold. It would stand out a little bit more. And then the subheader line, it's possible that you could take it and change it into, say, like an italic. Kind of gives emphasis just to that line. It's not something that you'd want to use in a lot of text, because it destroys some of the counters. It makes them smaller. They lean a little bit. So it, in a sense, would make it more difficult to read. Now, with this, like this, let's look at a different style. Let's go to one of the common ones that they were using, that being Georgia. Okay, opens it up just a little bit more. It uses the serifs that help lead the eye across the page. We can go ahead and change this back to, say, an italic. The italic would be the, I guess, the black and white version of the red that they used in their main article. Then we get down to the article itself, this part here. A common practice, a common thought, is that when you have an article, or when you have spacing, the spacing would be 150% of the font size. So going here, it's a font size of 12, as it is now. Well, as we changed it, we don't want to stay there. Let's go back up to the 18 and change the line height to 1.5 times, about, say, 24. You can see that opens it up, makes it a little bit easier to read. Of course, what's compounding the problem here is our line length. It runs on forever. So we want to go back here and let's shorten this up a little bit. A good rule of thumb is a line length of 65 to 85 characters or pixels. So we've brought that down, and it makes it a little bit easier to read. We could even maybe take it in just a little bit more. Then we run into some other problems if it's in too far. The title has run over to the next line, which one word sitting over here is what's commonly referred to as an orphan. It's sitting down here and kind of looking lonely all by itself. One way of getting around it might be to come up in to the title and put in a soft break. Do that by holding the Shift key and hitting, obviously not delete, but hitting enter, and then it pulls it down. Okay, that shortens everything up quite a bit and kind of makes it look, well, a little bit out of sync. If we were to shorten it up to match the title, then we're getting to maybe a size that's too small and is becoming a little bit more difficult to read. So let's go back out to a little bit larger size. And we could maybe solve this problem by working with the alignment. There's a variety of ways to align. Left align, center, right, or what they call full justified. In the case of a title, we can go with center. Again, this would probably look better if we just pull it out just a little bit more to where it was. And remove the extra space, and then it will go ahead and fill up that top line. Still could actually use some extra room to make it just a little bit more acceptable. So we're looking at the article itself. The paragraphs are running a little close together here. So we could fix that by going in and adding just a little bit more line spacing. So as you can see, in summary here, we got still have the title, we have the base of the article, we've changed up the font size, we've changed some of the style by changing the font itself, increased the line height, dealt with line length, and showed some of the options of alignment, and we're able to make this paragraph much more readable than the example that we have back here, where it runs on forever and it's hard to see where one line ends and where the next line begins, and just overall more enjoyable experience as far as reading. So again, when we consider readability, the things that affect it are font size, case, weight and style, line height, line length, and alignment. Paying attention to these things will make our websites more readable.